Show him the crane, Danny boy.
What's in the crane? What's in the crane? Dude, my nephew will show you the crane.
Oh yeah, nephew knows yourself.
He's working on Taekwondo, man.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
He's going to be the new Danielson. What's his name?
His name is Ethan's son.
Ethan's son. Alright, very good. Ethan's son. Well, I can't wait to kick his butt. Show him what's up.
Don't tell him that.
Yeah. Alright, well, you know, I better back off. It's been a while since I got into a fight.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can handle myself right now, to be honest with you. You want to fight a little bit? We want to have a little debate over here because I thought of this idea that what we wanted to do was we wanted to put together our ultimate teams, our ultimate starting five of the players in the NBA right now. I haven't looked at his list. He hasn't looked at mine.
Wait a second, we're going to interrupt.
No, you can't interrupt me.
We're gonna fight?
A little bit? Maybe it shouldn't. Why, is your cousin going to come? Oh, man. You turning your Yankee cap backwards? Goodness gracious.
I'm ready.
You got a bat in his hand also. I don't even know. I'm in bad shape over here. This isn't good.
That's all right. I'm just going to bunt.
Yeah. Take it easy. I'm going to bunt my head off the set. Did you write down your ultimate team?
I did.
Alright. We went with just the 5 starters. You know, we're going to go through the whole bench and, you know, bore you to death. But it's an interesting debate. Everybody loves to talk about who the best players are in the game and who they would start their team with and everything. So we want to get into that a little bit with you so we can have a little fun back and forth. Let's just take it by position and go back and forth, all right?
Okay.
Let's start with point guard. It was actually tough for me. I was very tempted to put somebody who doesn't actually play point guard at point guard, LeBron James, because he can run that, but I figured...
Probably should run that.
Maybe he should run that on his own team, but on my team, I got Chris Paul running the point for me because he can dish, he can score, and to me, he's the ultimate, I'm going to find you open, I can give, you know, I throw up lobs to whoever. To me, he's the ultimate point guard because he's a pass-first guy and his court vision is unbelievable. So he's my point guard. What about you?
I got Jeremy Lin.
Oh my God, I'm leaving.
I got Jeremy Lin.
Oh no, he didn't. Oh, he did not just do that.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I really thought you were serious. We were going to get booted off right now.
I am just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Woo!
I got Chris Paul too.
Talk about buying the hype. Do you? Oh, yeah.
I have CP3. I will say though, it is a slight 1A. I'm taking it for the record. It's CP3. But if I had to slide in a 1B, because I have a lot of 1Bs, because it's really close to a couple guys, I'd give it to Darren Williams. Darren Williams is a 1B.
Some politician that you want to...
No, it's CP3.
Goodness
it's CP3. But Darren Williams needs to be mentioned, because it's not like you're splitting hairs.
Alright, so we agree. Chris Paul. Alright. What about your shooting guard?
Also Jeremy Lin. No, I'm just kidding. It's Jeremy Lin at every
Jeremy Lin at every position.
Lin Sanity's taking over the set.
Oh, man, that's great.
You want me to go first in the shooting guard?
Yeah, you take the shooting guard first. What you got?
Also splitting hairs, but maybe not as much as one would think. I'm still going with Kobe Bryant, and I'll give the honorable mention to Dwayne Wade.
That's very fair, and I was going through the same two also. Is it Dwayne Wade, is it Kobe Bryant? You know, Kobe's obviously proven it, you know, year in and year out. The guy's got himself 5 championships. He's the ultimate scorer, the ultimate clutch player.
Right.
Dwayne Wade is younger. He's on kind of a similar path, maybe not with the championships, but in the end, how could you not go with Kobe? Even at this age, he's still even leading the league in scoring right now.
He had some, you know, interplanetary surgery in Europe, where his knees are revitalized, and he really hasn't lost much.
Nah.
And if I'm starting a team, I want the guy Dwayne Wade has it a little bit too, but I want the guy I want the killer.
Yeah,
and Kobe's the killer.
Kobe is the
and I don't
killer.
mean that literally, obviously.
No.
I mean that in a sports sense.
And in a sports sense, which is, you know, right now they're 5th in the Western Conference, but we know that, you know, they make their run come playoff time.
The cream rises to the top.
Exactly right. So, you know, we'll see what happens with that. The small forward position.
Going forward is where I don't mean to play on words, by the way, but going forward from here is where we're going to get a little.
I would guarantee we're going to get different because we've had conversations about this in the past and we've argued. So I would bet that my list is probably different from yours here going forth, although maybe that one position we probably will agree. But
probably
small forward. How you not take LeBron James? That's his natural position. I don't know how he can't play the small forward position. 6'8", most athletic guy in the league. Now when you're talking about putting your team together, I got Chris Paul throwing him up alley-oops left and right. Kobe, you know, on the wing if he can work in his isolation or whatever. So right now I'm building myself a guy Chris Paul, he can dish it to Kobe, the best scorer in the game, and LeBron, the most athletic guy in the game. Right now, I'm looking good, and I'm putting up 120 points a game so far.
120 points a game between three guys?
That's it. That's all I need.
So your team's basically going to average about 200 points a game.
Well, we'll see who else I got in there.
All right. I have, because I'm going to stay consistent to my word. I've already said it before. I got the Condor. I got the Durantula. I got Kevin Durant. And my honorable mention is obviously LBJ.
I mean, your honorable mentions. I mean, what is this, like a high school track race? Like, you want to give a trophy to everybody?
Because there's like a top 10 or 15 in the NBA that they are so all that good that it's tough to not at least say that.
That's why you only get one guy.
But and you mentioned them already, so I shouldn't have to. But yeah, I got the Durantula. I got him.
Look, it's hard to argue because I've even said that Durant may even be the best player in the NBA, but when I'm looking at the whole kind of team together, not that Durant isn't a great team player and a great player overall, but at small forward, splitting hairs between them, my hair's a little bit thicker. All right?
And let's throw this too, is the guy that we're not saying, so my honorable mentions, I mean, we're not dismissing them or anything like that. It's just, if we're forming a team, we're taking the top guy that we think, and I'm going with Durant.
Yeah, I hear you. And you know what, another guy, you know, and maybe everybody's going to tell me to mellow out, but Carmelo Anthony's the guy I would put at small forward. I mean, he's a dominant type of
He's
scorer.
an honorable mention. Yeah. Honorable mention.
Yeah, he's very honorably mentioned a couple of times. Right. Depending on what team he may, you know, fit in with, you know, if you have a different point guard or whatever it is.
And by the end of this year, assuming the insanity continues, he could very well be the guy in that position.
Yeah.
You don't know.
We'll see. Yeah. He's in the All-Star game right now. I'm a Knicks fan. I'll be the first to tell you he doesn't deserve to be there on his play alone this year because there are better guys in the league that get looked over because they don't have the big name. We won't go into him too much, but, you know, look, again, he'll be back. He didn't play today. The Knicks still won. We'll see what happens. Moving on to the power forward position. You got a lot of good ones out there. A lot of them are a little bit older now, but who are you thinking?
I'm going to let you take this one first.
You're going to let me take this one first. I see the smirk on you. Jeremy Lin, you got a power forward?
No.
No? You sure? I'll let you do that. I mean, maybe if you want to clone him 5 times.
He is a lot tougher than he looks, but he's not going to qualify for power forward.
All right, good. I'm glad you said that.
Maybe center.
Dirk Nowitzki's my power forward. The guy has proven, especially last year, winning the championship, being the MVP. He is so clutch, and he's a 7-footer.
He is.
All right? I grant that he's not the best defensive player in the league, but I got LeBron who could play defense already. I got Kobe who could play defense already. So I'm pretty good with my power forward, you know, just being pretty much that predominant scorer. You can score from the outside, and, you know, how could you not love Dirk? He's an ultimate team player, so he's my power forward.
I'm on a youth movement.
All right. You going back to camp?
I'm going back to camp, and, you know, today's the 18th or 19th of February, and we're less than a week beyond the day. That means nothing to me, by the way. But the day of love. The Valentine's Day.
There's another one.
I got Kevin Love.
Wow! Woo! How about that?
I got Kevin Love. The guy is a rebounding machine. He plays defense, and he gets an outside shot. And the truth is, when we get back to the center, there may not be room for him underneath, so I need his outside shot.
I think you're insane.
And my honorable mention is your guy, by the way. Just like I got honorable mention.
Linsanity is taking over a whole new meaning over here, folks, because Kevin Love, he has as his best power forward basically in the league is what you're saying, and you are insane.
Well, let's look at this. Dirk Nowitzki, again, you're splitting hairs. The only other guy I could possibly think of is Tim Duncan, who's the best probably ever at the position, as we stated in the last segment, but he just passed his day. Yeah, it doesn't mean he's not effective, he's not good. It just means if I'm starting a team today and these are my 5, I got Kevin Love.
If you want to go really young, why not LaMarcus Aldridge? You don't think that he's a little bit better of a player than Kevin Love? I don't mean to diminish Kevin Love because he's a very good player and a team player also.
Absolutely. So I actually I'm just going to leave that alone for now.
Okay.
I'll get back to that.
All right, we'll get back to LaMarcus Aldridge.
I'll get back to
LaMarcus Aldridge is one of my guys, and he came close to making my team. I'm not going to put him over Dirk, but one day he's going to be a full-time starter in the All-Star game.
Absolutely, and I want to make just one other comment about that position. Blake Griffin is not the best power forward, and he's certainly not better than Kevin Love. because he can't shoot from the outside.
He's a highlight reel, is all.
He is a highlight reel, and one day he's basically on the same track as Amari Stoudemire, who was a highlight reel when he first started, and his form the outside shot, and injuries have slowed him down a little bit, but he's still a beast. But it's not Blake Griffin, people.
It's not Blake Griffin. I'm sorry.
With all due respect. With all due respect.
Chris Paul is making him look better than what he really is, and I don't mean that Blake Griffin is not a very good player, because he is. He's extremely athletic. I mean, he dunks as good as I've seen anybody, but he's not a complete basketball player. To the center position, I don't know if there could possibly be an argument. I mean, if you don't say Dwight Howard, I'm going to throw you out the window. I'm going to take that bat and just beat you to death. So please tell me Dwight Howard is your center.
Okay, but
honorable mention.
It's not even honorable mention. It's just another way of looking at things. I got Dwight Howard.
Oh, thank God. So do I. All right, there's no question.
But here, I want to get back to LaMarcus. I want to make LaMarcus my center.
Ooh.
I really want to make him my center.
Oh, I like it.
I want to make him my center, and the only reason that is Dwight Howard he can't shoot outside of like 6 feet away from the hoop.
That's fine.
So I want to take LaMarcus there, but he's really not a center, so I'm going to go with Dwight Howard.
Yeah, it's Dwight Howard. The guy is.
But that was my point.
I like that. I like that you recognize how good he is. Obviously shows that you know a little bit about something over there.
Something. Whatever
that's something exactly.
Although I did do some reporting the last few days.
That is true. Yeah. How was that trip, right? You took that helicopter to Favre's house too?
I actually went to the Garden. I hung out with Jeremy Lin, and no, I didn't.
That guy's a tough interview to get now, huh? I mean, he's been everywhere. He's all over the place.
He's exhausted.
Oh man, he's declining him now. He's like saying, look, I just can't do it.
At least he doesn't have to sleep in a fetal position, as he said,
yeah, really?
on Landry Field's couch anymore.
Yeah, how about that?
The fetal position.
Unbelievable.
That's crazy.
That really is sick. Well, those are our teams. I like them. It's hard to argue. That Durant one is a great argument, no doubt about it.
So I just want to finalize that too. We'll wrap that up. So in case this isn't clear, I have Jeremy Lin, a point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, and at center. Give me Jeremy Lin.
So basically, it doesn't matter why I can't win.
No, not even close.
No, that's crazy.
You winning would be Linsane.
Right. Yeah, you win, I lose. That's it. Done deal. All right, so those are our teams now. But how about looking at like all time? Now, granted, we don't go back to in the medieval period and stuff like that. We don't know much about Bob Cousy's and Bill Russell's and players like that. Oscar Robertson. Yeah, they go way back. I mean, we don't know much about that. But the best players that we've seen going on from 1980, it's a great debate. You hear names, Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Wilt Chamberlain, Oscar Robertson,
Moses Malone, Dominique.
You hear a lot of these guys' names, and most often than not, whose name comes up at the top? Michael Jordan. But a lot of older historians or basketball analysts will say, hey, what about Oscar Robertson? Bill Russell won 750 championships. Why not him? Or Wilt, exactly. So it's tough. So rather than go with best player, because there's so many different positions, we decided to go with who we thought would be the player to start your team with. Who would be the best player
all time?
All time, not right now. We're gonna do right now also, but all time. And I want to throw it to you because once in a blue moon you actually come up with some interesting perspective. And I did a little praying before the show that this would be one of those times. So let's see if my praying and my prophecies are coming true. Do you have any perspective on this?
I do. And I'm going to upset some people here, and I'm fully prepared for the backlash. The guy who didn't, I want to say he got cut from his senior high school team, is not my all-time favorite guy. That would be Michael Jordan, of course, who didn't make his his high school starting lineup or team.
Right.
My guy actually is part of the explosion of college basketball onto the scene at a college known as Michigan State. He's a Spartan. More importantly, he's a Laker. The guy I'm starting my team with, best all time, for the fact he can play multiple positions and play them well, and is a team-first guy, more so than maybe anyone that's ever lived, is Magic Johnson.
Yeah,
I got the Magic Man.
I hear you, man. He was my favorite player to watch because of how incredible, again, he can score. He played all 5 positions, basically. When his rookie year, he won the championship. I mean, he took the whole team on his back. 5 championships for them. I mean, he was really the star of them all. Like I say, 6'8", 6'9" guy who can pass, who can score. I mean, he'd be looking this way, throw it over his shoulder.
Exactly, that's a good point.
You know, unbelievable stuff. I mean, those McDonald's commercials that he and Larry Bird did, you know, that stuff, that's for real. He really made those great passes and shots. You know,
yeah, absolutely.
Off the wall and,
absolutely.
you know, nothing but net. You know, he does that stuff.
And just as a disclaimer, we are not taking anything away from Michael Jordan.
No, of course
His greatness is not questioned.
Right, this is not the best player of all time. This is who you're going to start your team with.
Yeah.
I think Michael Jordan is the best player of all time that I've ever seen. Again, I really haven't seen Oscar Robertson and, you know, guys like that. To me, when I watched Michael, I said, look, at any time that he can take over the game-winning shot, he had more confidence and he was more competitive than anybody I've ever seen. He would have killed you if he didn't like the way you were performing on his own team. He was like the coach on the floor. So I think he's the best player of all time, but if I'm going to start my team with one guy, this may surprise you and it may surprise the hell out of you, Shaquille O'Neal.
Wow.
That's who I'm taking.
That's interesting.
The reason is because he's an enormous human being, Goliath, extremely athletic for a big man. And, I mean, look, he won 3 championships in a row with the Lakers. He went to the championships right away with the Orlando Magic. They got swept by Houston in his second year, I believe it was. Won one with Dwayne Wade in Miami. Look, when you have a dominant big man that is unguardable, all right? Now, the only thing I'll take, he's unguardable. When you watch Shaquille O'Neal play, he was just so dominant, he could not be stopped. You throw him the ball under the net, he's smashing it down through the bottoms of the pits of hell in the earth. He's just a big, strong man, breaking backboards. He broke into the league like something you've never seen before. The only gripe I have with it, and again, it's starting a team, not best player overall, because I don't think Shaq is the best player overall. It's only down for the list of free throws. It's hard to give it to him at the end of a game, obviously. He's not your closer guy.
He's not.
He's not a closer. So I would start my team with him, knowing that I'm sure I can have some other guy, you know, who can close it at the end. But
like Dwayne Wade or Kobe Bryant.
Like Dwayne Wade or and you know, that's kind of where we want to transition to a little bit. Are the closers in the game right now? You know?
Yeah, well, and just before we get to, I just want to add one thing about Shaq is I think it's fair to say that he is probably, or maybe definitely, the most dominant force that the NBA has ever seen,
I think
and maybe ever will again, because of his size and athletic ability.
Yeah.
He was unguardable for 10 years. I don't know. I mean, 95 to 2005, roughly.
Absolutely,
give or take.
absolutely.
He was completely unguardable. Which then, you know, the evolution of Hack-a-Shaq, which that's questionable in terms of, you know, that's a weird way to play for the record. But I mean, I really can't argue from that perspective.
Yeah, that's just who I would start my team with, just knowing that I got the best big guy in the world that you cannot guard. There's really nothing you can do.
Right.
I'll take him.
Yeah,
so that's what I'd
absolutely.
start with. We both agree that Michael Jordan's the best player that ever lived, that we've ever seen. But starting your team, he'll take Magic Johnson. I can't argue. I'll take Shaquille O'Neal. And I don't want to hear your argument. Shut up.
Thank you, sir.
The closer thing, which we touched on really, like the best closers and stuff, which is something we really wanted to get into, like who are the best in the game. One guy off the list automatically is LeBron James. He just doesn't close. He's not a closer. I don't even know if he can close his own door.
He's off the list.
He's way off the list. He doesn't come near it.
And someone else who made comments about this lately, that he wants to be the guy at the end of the game, which seems awfully head-scratching to me, which is also off the list, is Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard, you're not a closer because you don't have a game outside of 6 feet.
Right. And you can't hit your free throws.
And you can't hit your free throws either. Until you're able to do that, and I'm not saying that won't happen at some point, you can't be the closer. You just can't be.
No, I agree 100%. You can't be a closer if you can't hit your free throws, because they will foul you at the end of the game and send you to the line. Right. Which is why sometimes you see a lot of big guys, they don't even play in the last 20 seconds of a game if you can't hit.
Which has, and I'm not saying that that's the direct reason, but a few years ago when Orlando played the Lakers in the finals, that's one of the reasons, or had something to do with the fact, is why they didn't win. Because that team could have won the championship.
Right, because they had the best big man in the game, and that's the reason why they were there. Yeah. Orlando, there's no other reason why the Magic were able to go that far.
A dominant big man overrides most things in the NBA.
No doubt, no doubt. Yeah. And that's why I said I would start my team with Shaq, but that's different from being a closer and a guy who could put away the game. If I had my money on somebody, I would have said Kobe a few years ago. I'm not going to say that right now because I've seen him miss way many more game-winning shots than he's made over the past few years.
He's also probably taken more than most.
There's no doubt he takes more. There's no question about it. But I see him miss it all the time. The guy who I've seen it really make it more consistently than anybody is... No, don't say uh-oh. I think you're actually going to like it. I see Carmelo Anthony hit clutch shots all the time.
That was the uh-oh.
That was your uh-oh. It was the uh-oh. Okay.
I don't disagree.
He does.
He does.
I remember, I mean, I don't want to pick out specific games, but when him and LeBron went head-to-head, you know, when he was in Denver, Anthony was always, you know, the guy who coming out on top. Denver would win most of those games. And I can remember a specific time, LBJ, guard him straight up, and Anthony with no time left just said, you know what? Bop, right over him, swish, nothing but net.
He's got a sweet stroke.
He's got a beautiful stroke, and he can drive to the hole, and he can hit his free throws.
Yeah.
So I would, as ironic as it sounds with him being out and everything, I'd rather have him close the game over anybody else. I want the ball in his hands at the end more than anybody else in the game.
I mean, I got a handful of guys here. It's hard.
What's with you and your handfuls and your trophy awards?
I think there's a handful of closers in the game.
All right, well, give me them.
I'll give you who I think is my closer.
Give me a few of your guys out there, and then tell me who you really think.
Kevin Durant would be my guy because he's got range from.
You really love this guy, but I can't blame you.
He's got range from the baseline to half court. He can hit the shot from half court. So, I mean, when they were doing the horse game at the All-Star Weekend, which was a really bad idea, by the way. Thank God I'm not doing that anymore. This guy's hitting shots from, like, other states. He's going over the state line to hit a shot.
And
he's hitting it. Yeah. So, my guy's Kevin Durant.
All right.
With Carmelo probably a close second.
Okay.
And then just a couple other guys you got to throw in there. Kobe, obviously.
Sure.
Dwayne Wade.
Yeah.
Dwayne Wade, obviously, and which should be the closer in Miami. He's got to be the closer in Miami.
He is. That can't be argued anymore.
Dirk Nowitzki has proven to be a closer.
No doubt.
And the guy who just, he stays under the radar, and I don't get it, per se, but you got to give some love to Paul Pierce, as much as I hate to do it.
Glad you said that.
You got to give Paul Pierce some love.
He's so clutch. Yeah, he's definitely clutch, and he's so fearless. You know, he'll take it, and he put... You know, to me, he's the leader of that team. You know, everybody said when Kevin Garnett came in, this is Paul Pierce's team. He's been through all the rough times, and now, you know, he's got himself a championship, and some people talk about him as a borderline Hall of Famer.
I would absolutely say he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I think he is, you know, especially, you know, he's got his championship, went to another finals. You know, it's borderline. I mean, look, the old saying is if you have to think about it, he's probably not a Hall of Famer, but...
Are you really thinking about Paul Pierce?
I have to think about it.
I don't really have to think about it.
I got to think about it, because was he ever a top 10 player in the NBA?
He wasn't top 5. He might be top 10.
So for maybe a one-year run, maybe he was a top 5, 6 player. But overall, he's never been in that top tier of guys.
And I'll say this too: in the pantheon of great Celtics, and there are many, he's not. I mean, there's just like the Lakers. There's just so much history there. I mean, obviously Larry Bird is at the very top of that list. Kevin McHale's at the top of that list. Maybe even Dennis Johnson, of all people. I mean,
John Havlicek.
Russell,
Bob Cousy.
The list goes on. He's somewhere in that maybe 4, 5, 6 range on the Celtics, which says a lot about his ability as a player. I don't really have to think about Paul Pierce Hall of Famer because he's been doing this now for 10 years, 12 years. He's been around a little bit, and he's been pretty good. And another thing, and this isn't basketball per se. The dude got stabbed.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing.
He got stabbed, and he came back with a vengeance. And as a Knicks fan, it's tough to say these things because obviously the whole Boston, New York thing. But I got to give it up to Paul Pierce.
Rough year for Boston, huh? They've been having it tough.
A little bit.
You know, it's like they had a really sweet run with the Sox in New England. But
I actually got some fried chicken in the microwave if you want some. Maybe the Red Sox starting staff can join us.
Yeah, you brought that beer over, right? I think you got a few extra brewskis for it.
We'll have a couple beers and some fried chicken, and we'll be good. We'll do it right on the job. Just like that.
Yeah, you know, it's perfect. Drink it on the job, baby. Curt Schilling, I love. He gets on them, man.
He does.
I love him as an analyst. He just says whatever's on his mind. I love that as an analyst. Just, you know, especially one who's been in the clubhouse. There's nothing more I love to hear than a guy who's been there, been in the trenches, been in the clubhouse, been on teams for a long time, and hear like the stories that go on with him. Like, he even admitted that, yeah, you know, I drank a few beers at times and stuff like that, so it's documented that pitchers have done that and stuff, but I like how candid he is. I like when former players are candid because we don't get to find out that stuff unless they tell us.
Right,
We'll never know.
Exactly.
You know, so I like that.
Well, hold on a second. Just to clarify, I do some really deep reporting, and occasionally I do slip through the cracks. I haven't got in the Red Sox clubhouse yet.
That's right. They won't let you in because of the previous incident. We're not going to get into.
We won't touch that. Yeah. Right.
Just kidding.
Well, yes and no. But anyway, here's another thing I want to throw out there. You know, I have my top 5, and it's very youth oriented. Aside from, I guess, Kobe, everyone else there is under the age of like 26 or something like that. But we have this Rising Stars game coming up for the All-Star game, and we had spoken about it a few podcasts ago. And we had said that, or I had said, I should say, that it was to me it was a foregone conclusion that Shumpert would be in the game because he's been pretty good since day one. Has he had the one game where he shot like 25 shots and everyone got on him over it? And I feel like there's almost some sort of thing hanging over him where people are mad at him because of that one game or something. Maybe, yeah, but the fact he's not in that game is a shame. The fact that David Stern wasn't going to let Jeremy Lin in the game initially is also a head-scratcher. Yeah. But fortunately, he changed course, and Jeremy Lin's in the game, and I'm looking forward to it. It's one of my favorite events of All-Star of the whole weekend.
I think the thing with Shumpert is that scoring is so glorified in the NBA. And he's not known as a scorer. He's more of a defensive player, and unfortunately...
And a really good one.
Very good one. Like you mentioned, he's got a much bigger wingspan than his height.
Right.
And he's committed to it. And unfortunately, that's overlooked by the guys who just look at the stats and say, oh, he's having a good year, let's stick him in. Oh, he's having a good year, he's averaging 15 points and 9 rebounds. But, you know, that's not really the way to do it. You got to watch the games and everything. But, yeah, the Rising Stars thing is pretty cool. And who got to pick these teams? What was it, Shaq and Barkley?
Is it the Shaq? Yeah, the Shaq and the Chuck thing, you got to love, first of all. The fact that these guys are on television, I mean... It is very entertaining. It's very intelligent by the station that takes care of them, and I don't think we should be mentioning stations.
No, we're not mentioning stations. But, you guys know what it is.
It's very. I think it's very intelligent, wise choice of people to do this with. I like the format this year, how they're blending the rookies and the sophomores. But there are some guys on here. I mean, I think Markieff Morris, Marshawn Brooks. I think these guys are in the game more because of where they were drafted, rather than their actual play on the court. Right. And if I'm stacking these guys up against Shumpert, and I am biased, I ain't gonna lie, I'm a little bit biased, but Shumpert's pretty good, man. Yeah. And the fact he's not in the game is a little bit disappointing.
I hear you. Hey, look, I'm on the same page. Like I say, again, the whole scoring, and it's more of a glorified thing. Shumpert comes off the bench, whatever. I don't know how much New York Knicks, Shaq and Barkley are watching, and this guy. I don't know what they're doing, but. It's a team-oriented type of game.
But and check this out. The ironic thing with the whole David Stern thing is Shaq drafted Jeremy Lin second. He was his second draft pick.
Second pick.
He was his second pick on the team, and all I know is that he has Jeremy Lin and Landry Fields. So from my standpoint, Team Shaq's the winner.
Hey, all right, he's the winner.
they're the winner. They're the clear winner.
Linner, chicken dinner. Yeah, that should be fun. I like DeMarcus. Real quick, DeMarcus Cousins, I think, is a really good player. But he's just seems to have a really bad attitude.
He's got a terrible attitude.
I mean, he's just like a grumpy little smurf. I mean, he's got all this talent, and if he just had a better attitude and seems to be more of a team player, he could be a total all-star.
He needs to grow up.
No doubt.
I mean, he needs to grow up. And I actually, that attitude, his own teammates do not like him. Yeah, or that's the way it appears. I mean,
it appears that way.
He has these temper tantrums on the court, and yeah, I mean, he's got so much talent. He's a big body. He could be this whole power forward conversation we had before. He could be the guy.
Right. If he dedicates himself to be a team player, sure.
Play a little defense and be a team player and lose the attitude.
Yeah,
please lose the attitude.
I know one kid you really like is Ricky Rubio.
Love Ricky Rubio.
Yeah, he's shown a lot. I mean, it's interesting how he's in the Spanish league it was.
Yeah,
and he averaged 6 points a game and everything. It's like, how's he going to transition over here? I mean, this guy's passing the ball beautifully. Talk about throwing up alley-oops, man.
I mean, the hype machine was so great on Rubio, and he got drafted and didn't come over. And I think this is now, what, 3 years later or 2 years later? I think it's 3. I think it's 3 years later. And he comes over, and I'm expecting this guy to be a flop. And I watch him play, and him and Love, I mean, that is, it's almost Stockton Malone-esque.
Yeah, they got a nice little combo going.
But I will say this about Rubio, and I hate to go back to Jeremy Lin because he's in that class, so to speak, in terms of the passing ability.
You forget, Jeremy Lin's in the Hall of Fame, okay? Just from now on. He's in the Hall of Fame.
They've already inducted him.
All right, enshrined, his bust is in there and all that stuff.
No, but my point is you got the guys like Nash and Jason Kidd, and you love to watch these guys pass. These guys are true point guards.
Yeah.
Ricky Rubio is that.
Yeah,
he just needs to shoot a little better. But I love the way this guy passes the ball. He's got, and same as Magic Johnson. He's got,
Yeah, I love that stuff.
He's got passing from every angle, every direction. He's got eyes. He's got like 80. He's not a Cyclops. He's like the opposite of Cyclops. He's got eyes everywhere.
I just want to know, where's the rest of him? I mean, he looks like he's about 56 pounds. He is one small little dude. I mean, somebody like chop him in half or something. Gain some weight, brother. Come on.
He's a little bit flaccid.
Let's go, Ricky Rubio. Gain some damn freaking weight. Right. Come on, bulk up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so the All-Star Game's coming up. When is it? It's next week,
Next
right?
week.
Next week.
And we'll have more on that.
And we'll have more. We'll definitely get into more. For now, we're going to bust out, watch the end of the Heat and Magic, which should be coming up in the fourth quarter right about now.
Sure, yeah.
So we want to go check that out. So we're going to peace out of here. Again, check the website, sportsforfans.blogspot.com. That's sports, the number 4 fans.blogspot.com. For the golden one, I'm the Sports Prophet. Anything you want to say to the kiddies?
I love the kiddies.
I love the children.
I love the kids.
We love the kids.
We do for the kids.
We have Barney in next week. All right, I'm going to throw a pen at his face.
But we're not bringing Barney.
Nah, he's like, we're out of here. See you later.